Hare Krishna. Welcome to the Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu class. We will start with Mangalacharan prayers. I will share the screen. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Soyam Rupah Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutah Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Okay, now we can start with the slides. So welcome to Śrī Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu study by Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, and whose summary study is given by Srila Prabhupada called Nectar of Devotion. So I will recite the Shad Goswami Ashtakam, the first two verses. You all can recite on mute. Krishna Kirtana Gana Nartana Paro Premamritambo Nidhi Dhira Dhira Jana Priya Priya Karo Nirmata
Pujito
Shri Chaitanya Kripa Bharo Bhuvi Bhuvo Bharavahantarako Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako Nana Shastra Vicharanaika Nipuno Sadharma Samsthapako Lokanam Hitakarino Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanyakaro Radha Krishna Padaravinda Bhajana Nandena Mattaliko Vande Rupa Sanatano Raghujugo Shri Jiva Gopalako. Let us recite the memorization verses. If you would like, kindly unmute and we will lead and follow. Anyabhilashita
Anyabhilashitashunyam
Dhanakarmadhyanavritam
Dhyanakaramadhyanavritam
Yena Krishnanu
Anupurvena Krishnanu
Ilanam Bhattiruttama
Srilanam Bhakti-ruttama
सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तं
सर्वोपाधि विनिर्मुक्तं
तत्परत्वेन निर्मलं
तत्परत्वेन निर्मलं
ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश
ऋषिकेन ऋषिकेश
जीवनं भक्तिरुच्यते।
सेवनं भक्तिरुच्यते।
श्रीकृष्ण नामादि
अतः श्रीकृष्ण नामादि
भवेत् ग्राह्यमिन्द्रियै
भवेत् ग्राह्यम् इन्द्रियै
देवोन्मुखे हि जिह्वादो
देवोन्मुखे जिह्वादो
स्वयमेव स्मृत्यतः
स्वयमेव स्मृत्यतः
नासक्तस्य विषयान्
अनासक्तस्य विषयान्
आर्हमुपयुञ्जतः
यथार्हमुपयुञ्जितः
कृष्णसम्बन्धे
निर्बन्धकृष्णसम्बन्धे
युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते।
युक्तं वैराग्यमुच्यते।
Good. Thank you. So now we will start with today's content. So let us see where we are supposed to be. Okay, right here. Okay. What are you seeing? Are you seeing? It's not showing a green border. Are you seeing the slide?
No, Prabhuji. There is a river.
River.
Yes, we are seeing river flowing.
Some landscape.
That's my wallpaper or something.
Now nothing.
Now?
No, we can see the slides, Prabhuji.
Now 19. Yeah, we can say 19. Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Then we are back on track. Okay, so this we had covered last time. If you remember, we covered the first 20 limbs of Bhakti. And now we are, we had left the 19th one, which is a long one, which is Seva and Nam Aparadha Varjanam. So to avoid, Varjana means to avoid the Seva and Nam Aparadhas. So in these, there are few verses which we will cover, 18 to 120 in the Bhakti-rasāmṛta-sindhu. But in the commentary by Sri Jiva Goswami, he has given a very, very long list of all the seva, and he has also mentioned the Nam Aparadhas. So we will cover those in detail, and Srila Prabhupada has dedicated a whole chapter on this topic. So there are 32 Seva Aparadhas from the Agamas, which are supplementary Vedic literatures. The Vedas are known as Nigamas. So Agamas and Nigamas. So Agamas are the supplementary literatures. Then some from the Varaha Purana, Narasimha Purana and other scriptures. And then 10 Nam Aparadhas from the Padma Purana. So let us look at all these ones. We will go over them quickly. There can be a lot that can be said on these Seva and Nam Aparadhas. Nam Aparadha also we will go over quickly. There's a whole series I had done a couple of years ago on Nam Aparadhas. Then as part of the Updeshamrit series, Hari Parshad Prabhu has a wonderful and very deep treatment of the 10 Nam Aparadhas in his usual sort of very deep style. So I invite you all to go over these various sessions where detailed Nam Aparadhas have been discussed. I will talk a little more about it as we go along. Okay. There seems to be some disturbance. I'll mute any unmuted participants. Okay, so let's go over this list. 1 second. Okay, so the first we will cover the Seva Aparadhas from the Agamas. And these Seva Aparadhas, 32 of them, are also mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilas. I have abbreviated it as HBV in 8th chapter. So let's go over these. Entering the temple in a car or palanquin or with shoes on. So many of these are very common sense and most of you already know these, but little bit I will say some things about it. So of course, these days we reach the temple by some vehicle, car or whatever, but the point is that we should not go too close or in front of the deity. Now, nobody goes in front of the deity in a car, but sometimes it may happen like that. If there is a big pandal and there is a deity there, some people may arrive in a car and, that's not considered respectful to the deity. So one must walk on their feet to the deity. And of course, palanquins are not there anymore in the modern world. But yeah, again, the whole point is one must show respect to the deity, not to show off one's own opulence. So arriving in a car or palanquin is a mark of one's own opulence. So that is to be avoided. Also, some people may think like a wheelchair. So that is allowed. Wheelchair is also like a vehicle. So, but if one is disabled or, cannot do that, then it's allowed or it's okay to come in a wheelchair. You cannot say that, oh, I have, I cannot visit the deity or the temple in a wheelchair. That's not the case. If one is able, if one's feet are able, one should not come in a like this. Next one, second, not observing or serving in the various festivals like Janmashtami, Rath Yatra, so many festivals that are organized on a big scale. One should observe those festivals and also not just observe, like participate and just, kind of enjoy, so to say, but also do seva in those festivals, to organize, to make sure or to participate in the organization of the festival. Not bowing down before the deity upon seeing them. So whenever you see the deity first time as in like not very first time in your life, but first time whenever you see after a gap. So if the curtain was closed or the door was closed and it got open, then bow down. Or if door was already open and you entered the temple and therefore you are seeing at that time first, then you bow down. And if you went out of the temple and came back in, again bow down. So whenever there is a gap in seeing the deity and you see the deity, then bow down to the deity upon seeing them. Now, in some cases, it may not be practical. Some people may have leg problem, knee problem, back problem, this, that. So all those are exceptions. So as best as you can, and if not anything else in the mind, one should bow down. If the body is not at all possible to bow down. Then this one, fourth one, entering the temple without having washed one's mouth, hands, feet after eating. Again, common sense things, some people are just strolling in the marketplace. And in India, there are so many temples. And they, stopped at one shop where they ate some chaat pakodi. And then they said, oh, there is temple on the next two steps ahead. So they go in the temple. Just like that with after eating chaat pakodi or whatever on the way. So all that should be, there should be a certain amount of respect. Temple is not like a grocery store where you just enter and do your business, come out. It's one should treat the temple like a place of reverence. So that is the, or in any kind of an unclean state. We will see some more things like that, which kind of emphasize the point. Fifth, so entering the temple in a contaminated state. So when there is recent death in the family or etc. So now this one is a little bit, has various interpretations. So entering the temple, and we will see this in many other areas, English translations and the Sanskrit, there are not one-to-one translations are not correct. So one point I forgot to mention in the slides, but I forgot, is that in case of doubt, consult your Guru. And Guru Vakya, or his instruction supersedes anything that is conflicting. So somebody may have a guru who may say, yes, it is okay. Somebody's guru may say it is not okay. You just follow that, because different interpretations may exist. And the guru has a certain kind of a bent or a, leaning towards one interpretation versus the other, and you have taken shelter of Guru. So that is where you do what the Guru says. One common example, for example, in ISKCON is about chocolate. Is chocolate okay or not? So some, now of course, if chocolate, is made out of some of animal ingredients, then of course it must be avoided. But in general, some gurus say it's okay. If you confirm it's not made out of animal ingredients, then it's okay. Some say just avoid chocolate. Don't worry about what's in ingredient. Regardless of ingredient, avoid. So these are some, fine, it's a little gray area. So consult your guru. So like in a death in the family, some say that don't come to temple. Some say don't do worship on the altar. So that is very clear. One should not go on the altar and do worship for 13 days or something like that. Again, the number of days is also, based on interpretation. So all that should come from the guru. 4 days or 13 days or whatever, whether to enter the temple or go on the altar and do pujari work, all those are subject to interpretation. So please, that's the importance of accepting and taking shelter of Guru Pada Ashraya. And then Dikshadi Shikshanam. So getting the Shiksha. Then, okay, number 6, offering obeisances or bowing with one hand. So that is also considered an offense, a Seva Aparadhas. Sometimes, in one hand we have a backpack or whatever bag, and, we do like this, or some salam. Some people do salam or just put their hand on the chest. That's technically not okay. You should, put down. If you're holding a bag, put it down and just, do with both hands, not with one hand. Then circumambulating in front of Krishna. Okay, so what it means now, this may be a little bit, controversial or contradictory, but I have also seen, and I was also taught when I was young, one way to circumambulate is we will talk about it as one of the limbs of bhakti. We are just talking right now about aparadha, seva aparadha. One of the limb of bhakti is parikrama. Parikrama means circumambulation, but circumambulating the deity or the temple or a dham, like we do Govardhan parikrama, Braj Mandal parikrama, Vrindavan parikrama, etc. But some people, what this means, so those parikramas are not allowed, but they should be done. It's a limb of bhakti. What it means is standing at one place. You just stand and you just kind of just do like this. So that one is an offense. Now, in many cultures and many other sampradayas, I'm not an expert in other sampradayas. It is probably recommended, and some of you will probably want to correct me. No, Prabhuji, we have been taught our, whoever is our guru or whatever, or whoever learned person has told us to do like that. That is another point. Then you must accept a guru. According to Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, this is a aparadha. So if you have taken formal shelter of Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, Rupa Goswami and Jiva Goswami are the, you can say, deans. In a university, you have a dean, right? He's above all the professors, academic dean. So they are like the deans, the professors, tenured professors of our university called Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Then you have to follow them. So that circumambulating at one place is an offense. So don't do that. Again, you can follow whatever you want, but yeah. Then eighth one, spreading one's legs before the deity. So, sitting like with legs like this. Cross-legged is okay. That's not called spreading the legs. Cross-legged in a cross-legged fashion is fine, but just spreading legs like wide open like this is just offensive. And it also means that your feet will be toward the deity. Okay. And sometimes I see children doing that, small children, and they do that. It's okay. Mothers, or fathers, whatever, should teach the children that it's okay if they do. It's not that they will be punished or nobody should shout at them or anything. So others should not, but the parents should teach the children, my dear child, it's an offense to the deity. Just like, if they were to, I don't know, start peeing in the temple room, that no mother would allow that, right? They would immediately take the child away or whatever, First of all, they would put the child in diaper. But I'm just saying that's just very obvious and gross if the child does that. And the mother then teaches, hey, it's not okay to do that, even in the home. So in the same way, one should teach the child it's not okay, and slowly the child will learn. But if the parents themselves don't know, how can they teach the child? So this culture is slowly getting lost. So parents themselves don't know. They may themselves be sitting like this. What to speak of a child? Ninth, sitting before the deity holding the knees. I don't know how to show this on video, but like, you sit down with knees up and you hold it like in your arms. So that's not okay. Okay. So either you should be standing or sitting on a chair or sitting down in a cross-legged position. Or sitting down with I don't know, various other positions are possible, but one should not like lift up your knees and hold them, make a sort of a, with your hands, like hold them up. Then lying down or sleeping before the deity is also number 10th. Then 11th, eating before the deity, not even prasadam. So again, we are talking about a full meal. Now, in the one special exception here is Jagannath Mahaprasad. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Chaitanya Charitamrita said one should immediately consume Jagannath Mahaprasad. So Jagannath Mahaprasad, so what one can do is take a small piece the moment you get it, even when the deity, that's what I do. I have asked some seniors, they have said that's what we should do. If you get, let's say, a bowl of Mahaprasad, Jagannath Khichdi is one of the things, for example, or Khaja is another thing. Take a small piece, honor the prasad, and take the rest of it, if it is a bowl or whatever, outside. But at that time, you have done your, you have honored the prasad by honoring it then and there. So that's how we should honor Jagannath Mahaprasad. Other prasad we should offer outside or not in front of the deity. Okay. Then speaking a lie before the deity. Now, it doesn't mean you can speak a lie outside the temple. You should never speak a lie. But speaking a lie before the deity is extra offensive. Talking very loudly before the deity. So in a loud voice. Now, these are some very, think of it like this, okay? Just think of it. If you are standing in front of a king or emperor, okay, let's say you got an invitation to the White House, okay? Would you do any of these things? You have been invited to the White House and the president is going to come and you get a chance to shake hands with him or whatever. Sometimes, you know, in White House tours, I have heard that, oh, today you can meet the president. That's like a lottery ticket or whatever you get. You won't start, you know, taking out a cracker or whatever, some cookies from your pocket and start eating them while the president is standing there. You know, or you would start talking loudly on your, if you get a phone call, you start taking the phone call. You'll probably be asked to shut off your phone when you enter the Oval Office to meet the president. So these are just some common sense things. There's nothing like you have to remember to do this. You don't have to memorize. 90% of them are just simple common sense. And Bhagwan and Lord Krishna is the emperor of the whole creation, not just a small country or some White House. So temple is like the White House of Krishna. So whatever your common sense tells you to do, you should, I mean, these are common sense things. Gossiping before the deity. So, you know, you should not do Gramya Katha. You should talk to the deity, or you can also talk about the deity, which means you can do Krishna Katha, but not Gramya. Gramya Katha means your material talk, your village talk. Grama means village. All your nonsense things, you know. So should not be done before the deity. Then crying before the deity for material miseries or suffering. And, you know, we should not do that. And especially blaming the deity for our miseries. So why you did this like that or this or that. Then quarrel or fight with each other before the deity. All these things we should not do now. We should not quarrel or fight even outside the deity temple either, but definitely not before the deity. You know, the Lord doesn't like his children. As a father of two sons, I can tell you, I don't like when my sons fight. And sometimes they have a genuine fight. Genuine fight means like some actual issue is there, whatever. I told you this, no, you told me that. Then I say, okay, guys, fight when I'm not there. Or I leave the room and they continue to argue and fight. So as a father, I can say, I don't like it. And Krishna is our father. We are all his children. So even he doesn't like when we fight. Chastising anyone before the deity. So we should not chastise. Again, same kind of spirit as fighting. Doing favor to others before the deity. Okay. So like thanking others or giving charity or gifts to others, etc. So the point is that when you are thanking somebody, it means he did some favor to you and you said thank you, correct? Or you are doing some favor or some charity or gift to others. That means you are offering a favor to them. So there is a adan pradan, a exchange of favors going on here. When you are thanking, it means some favor was done to you. When you are giving something, you are doing a favor to someone. The object of all favors in the temple is Krishna. We do all favors to Krishna. We offer him nice, you know, bhoga to eat, nice things like a lamp, incense, all those things we offer. So all our gifts, all our everything should be to Krishna. And Krishna is giving us so much. So we thank Krishna. So that adan pradan in front of the deity should be to Krishna. Now this is for all material minded aspects. Okay. So for devotional aspects, we can thank and we can, you know, give like a deity garland, which has been received from the deity, can be given to a devotee. Those kind of things. Again, number 19, speaking harshly to others, similar to the previous one. 20, wearing a fur blanket before or in front of the deity. So why is that? Any thoughts on this? I have put some whys on some of the hard ones, so to say, some of the, what you say, where your mind goes, scratch your head, like why? So fur blanket. Now keep in mind, if you're raising your hand, wool is okay, even though it's an animal product. Like you shear the sheep, you call it shearing, right? So wool is made out of sheep, whatever, not skin, but fur, you can say, or his
Hair.
hair. So that's okay. So don't say that it is an animal product. That will be a wrong answer. Yes, Shamlila Mataji, then Madhav Guranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare-
Prabhuji, so one of the things could be the way it is processed. Like I've seen a couple of documentaries where it's super painful and like violent in that sense.
Sure.
So you've caused so much harm to another being, which would not please the Lord.
Okay.
Oh,
Madhav,
also, and Prabhuji, another thing is that it's sort of a sign of like opulence, like people sort of buy it to show their prosperity or.
very nice. That is one of the nice points, or a valid point. Yes, Madhav Guranga Prabhu, did you want to say?
I have the same answer, Prabhuji. Like you are trying to show your opulence in front of the Krishna or deities. So that's what it is.
The fur blanket, one of the thing is fur blanket is supposed to be like expensive or whatever. So you are showing your opulence. There's another reason also, which I have read in one of the explanations. Yes.
Prabhuji, it contains
One
a
second.
sort of tissue and flesh also, dried one, in the fur, though it is cleaned.
Say that again.
The fur, which contains tissue and the animal product is not fully cleaned.
Okay. Yes, Anjana Mataji, you were trying to say something?
Prabhuji, I was just saying that, when you obtain a fur, you're actually killing an animal. I mean, it's like, it's the skin and the, the hair on that skin is what worn by some of the people. I'm talking about real fur, not artificial fur.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, all that if we know that it is, or we can avoid it completely. Some people like milk. Of course, if you go and look at, even though milk is not considered non-vegetarian, but many devotees avoid milk because of the cruelty to the cows. It's not like Vrindavan cows, ahimsa and all those things, where the milk is obtained in a very, where the cows are loved and cared for. So yes, in that spirit, if we know or like that, then that is obviously not okay. It should be definitely avoided. So, but here when I asked the question, I meant that it has been obtained with no violence to the animal, with that assumption. Of course, we don't know, so we can completely avoid. But the other reason, so one reason is that it is a mark of opulence. So wearing very, very opulent clothes or jewelry or makeup or all these things in front of the deity is, when somebody else comes to the temple, the point is one's focus should be, oh, how beautiful the deity is looking, gorgeous. Not like, oh, this devotee is looking so gorgeous. And the devotee is one devotee standing out in the crowd. Oh, how gorgeous jewelry, and everybody is looking at the devotee rather than the deity. So that is one meaning. And the other meaning, especially for a blanket, is that one has to constantly adjust it if it keeps falling. So especially when one is doing the seva, then it creates a disturbance in the seva. If one has to constantly keep, sometimes like I wear a shawl, I have to, constantly keeps like, so I have to keep adjusting it. So that's another reason to put when I'm wearing shawl, I don't do deity seva. I'm just sitting on a chair, but still I have to keep adjusting it. So that is a disturbance in whatever seva one is doing towards the deity. So these are the two reasons. Okay. Eulogize or praise anyone else before the deity, their material qualities especially is an offense. Speaking any ill names or vulgar language before the deity, the Sanskrit for that used is ashlila. So using ashlila language or vulgar language before the deity, or passing air before the deity. If you have to pass air, then step out and pass air, just like as if you have to go to the bathroom. So try your best not to do it in front of when the deity curtain is open or in front of the deity. Now, of course, if somebody has a disease, those kind of things, of course, there are exceptions. And you are in a wheelchair and you cannot just go out whenever you want. So there are exceptions, but as best as possible, try to do these. Then failing to worship the deity according to one's means. This is very important. In Bhagavad Gita, some people take the verse patram pushpam phalam toyam to heart. What it means is that I will only worship with patram pushpam phalam toyam. Even though they may be millionaires, they will worship with water. That is the minimum standard. And the focus of the verse is not to worship only with those things. The focus of the verse point is only those things are okay as long as it is accompanied with a lot of love and devotion. So that is the focus of that verse from Bhagavad Gita 9.26. Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. With bhakti, when a bhakta offers, Lord says, ashnamyaham, I accept it or I eat it. So, but if our means are more, we should offer more. So according to our means. So if a poor man is, let's say, giving 10% of his income, and which happens to be $100, and a millionaire is also giving $100, then it is unequal. It's the percentage that matters, not the dollar amount, in some sense, if I were to put it mathematically. So one should give according to one's means, or worship the deity with according to one's means. So if one is a millionaire or whatever, one should worship, with gold and silver. If one is very, very poor, one can worship with water. So like that. Everything is given by the Lord. So we should offer back, to the Lord. Okay. 25. Eating anything that is not offered to Krishna. So basically it means always eat prasad, not anything else. And then failing to offer fresh fruits, grains, vegetables to Krishna according to the season. So again, the aspect here is Bhagavan is a person. He likes to eat according to the season. And the fruits and vegetables and all, they have a certain juices and all which are appropriate for a certain season. So he also likes that. We like them, so he likes them. So we should give that, not just like always give dry fruits. That's a standard thing, okay? Imagine if you are asked to eat oatmeal every day for breakfast, you will go crazy. Or if you are asked to eat only one thing. So variety and seasonal variety, just like you want for yourself, offer it to the deity. Then 27th is another big item, which many people do, that offering foodstuff to others or self before first offering to the deity. So, you take it out, let's say you cook a pot and you cannot offer to the deity, let us say. So you take out some at that time, you take out some in a cup and you start eating the rest. What you took out in the cup, later on you offer to the deity. But you have already eaten from the pot. or not directly in the pot, but whatever was prepared, you have already honored it yourself. So actually Bhagavan is eating your prasad instead of other way around. So that should never be the case. So one practical thing to do, let's say your altar has closed for the night. Let us say if you close your altar, let's say at 8:30 or 9 p.m. And let us say your child says, Mama, I'm feeling hungry. So Mama cooks something fresh for the child. Now altar is closed in your house. What do? It will open next morning. So you can offer it to a picture. In the kitchen, you can have a small altar, not a small altar, just a picture. Keep a picture of Krishna in your kitchen and offer to Krishna and then give it to your child. Okay. So, but somehow or the other, offer to Krishna and give it. If you are outside, let us say, then and you have your phone, pull up a picture of Krishna on the phone and, you can offer to that picture. You can always do that. We are always having our phone with us. And finally, if nothing is available, offer it mentally to Krishna. But you must offer before you honor even one bite. Okay. Now, sometimes also another thing, let us say sometimes one has cooked, let us say in a particular family, the wife has cooked and husband needs to go to work. Just as an example, or it could be other way around. Husband is cooking and wife needs to go to work, and she has packed the lunch in a box. But that preparation was made to offer lunch prasad to the deity. So you can pack the lunch in a lunch box, give to your husband. He will go to the office, but he should not eat it. And lunch prasad, the wife may not offer at like 8 a.m. 8 a.m. is not lunchtime. You want to offer lunch to the deity at noon. So from the pot, the wife can offer at home to the deity at noon and call the husband and say, okay, offering done, now you can eat. So it is spiritual, even though that food or whatever was separated at 8 o'clock, put in the tiffin box, lunch box, and given to the husband, and he has gone to the office. When he, at 12 o'clock, when it was offered to the deity, even the one in the lunch box has become prasad. Okay, so it's not like the whole pot needs to be offered. Okay, so I hope you are following this. The husband should not eat before he has received the phone call from the wife or a text message that it has been offered and removed from the altar. Then you can eat. So like this, one can do. So these are the practices of bhakti. Yes, it is a little bit of a inconvenience, one can say, from, but everything is an inconvenience. Yes, any kind of discipline is an inconvenience. And that is why we say we want to become Krishna. So if you want to become Krishna, then this is not for us. Then sitting with one's back toward the deity. So that's obvious. 29th, offering accepting obeisances to someone or accepting obeisances from someone in front of the deity. So that is also an offense. So many people do that, I have seen. So you can do like just pranam or Hare Krishna, but obeisances means like bending down and paying obeisance is an offense. And the reason is the same. When the deity is there, the deity is the only object of all glorification and obeisances and not others. Then 30th one, offering obeisances silently to the spiritual master. Now to spiritual master, it is allowed. But because for the disciple, spiritual master is as good as the deity, or as good as God, but not anybody else. Or failing to offer some praise in the presence of a spiritual master. Now, it doesn't mean if a spiritual master has, let's say, 50 disciples, and if everyone while coming to the room starts loudly offers obeisances, then the class will never happen. only the people's obeisances will keep happening, but it should be audible. One word, Hare Krishna. Just like that, you can say Guru Maharaj or something like that. And that's just audible enough to you, not to the whole group. Or if he is the only one and you are meeting him privately in a room, definitely you should glorify audibly so that he can also hear. 31, praising oneself before the deity or spiritual master. Obvious, that's kind of obvious. One should not praise oneself. Or deriding the demigods, the devatas. That should never be done. That's also a limb of bhakti. Number 17, Deva Avagya. I think that's what it is called in Sanskrit, but not to never disrespect the deity is one of the don'ts. Remember, the 11 to 20 are the don'ts, 1 to 10 are the do's. So one of the don'ts is to disrespect the devatas, and definitely not before the deity. Okay, any questions on these 32? Yes, Madhav Gauranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So I question regarding 29, offering obeisances to others in front of the Lord. So like in our temple room, when we are sitting there and if Maharaj or sannyasi comes, we always bow down. Will not be that acceptable?
Yeah, I said that is acceptable. That was an... But-
I missed that. Sorry.
Sure. Yes, Sarva Shakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have like a couple of questions. So when we enter the temple, we first offer obeisances to all the Vaishnavas, right, Prabhuji? Like we say Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, and is it like not offering obeisances to other devotees in front of the Lord?
I mean, during the recitation of the Mangalacharan, but with the body we should not. We can recite the Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindhuevcha verse. But
Oh, we shouldn't do that in the temple? Oh, because I always do first to the...
But what it means is actually bending down and giving obeisances.
Oh.
Yes, it's right here. I mean, I avoid that. Some people think I'm disrespectful. Everybody is touching the feet or bowing down and I'm not. But what to do? Now, I don't want to go and start preaching to others, hey, you shouldn't do, you should. I'm not their guru or anything. I'm nobody's guru. So.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji, for letting me know. I didn't know that I was doing it all the time. And also, Prabhuji, when you said like prasadam packed in the lunchbox, like when we offer boga to the Lord, we mix it with the rest of it to make it prasadam, right? So like when we pack it, like for our kids or anything before we mix
That's
it.
not possible.
Yeah, but it still gets spiritualized.
Yes.
Okay.
I especially ask this to my Guru Maharaj, who happens to be yours as well. So that applies, but he has sanctioned it. I have not seen it written in Shastra anywhere. Probably there was probably a concept of, a lunch packed in a, whatever. Farmers and all, they would go to the field to do their work and eat the lunch. And Krishna used to take lunch packed for herding the cows. We have seen that in the stories, not the stories, I mean the history of Bhagavatam. So, but it is not specifically mentioned to mix and all that. But yes, that's completely bona fide. I have asked Guru Maharaj and he had said, okay.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. I have one last question. So you said, we can sit crisscross, but, we can't touch our knees with our hands. Sometimes when our knees start hurting, we do tend to, sit like
if sitting crisscross and touching the knees, that's okay. You go ahead. It's not about touching the knees. It's about folding up the legs and I don't know who can. Ramakant Prabhu, I can see that.
Yes.
Can you show that, or maybe I don't know who can show.
Yes, Prabhuji, I do that all the time at the temple. That's why I was asking this question.
Yes, now you can see
we can
like that. You should not do that. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yes. So can we fold our legs and not touch with our hands, or we shouldn't sit that way either?
Okay, that I don't know. Now you're asking a very border. I mean, this side, I don't know.
Because sometimes the knees hurt and, I sit that, like interchanging positions. So like, that's why I was asking Prabhuji.
So that's why I said, then the person to ask is Guru, or, some senior Vaishnava or somebody whom we, consider. But, and they may in turn have to find out from their Guru or something, but yeah.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
thank you.
not doing like what Ramakant Prabhu showed on the video, and I'm sure everybody understands what we are talking about. That should not be done. And I see many times devotees do that.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. It's just,
Okay.
it's right here.
Yes, it's best to stand or sit on a chair than to do that. Okay.
If you are feeling little, like cramped or whatever, you're tired, stand up, stand up and walk around for some time and 2 minutes and then sit down or something like that you can do.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, seniors can take chairs.
Yeah, definitely. Yes, Ananya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So I have one question about number 15, where it's written crying before the deity for material miseries or sufferings. So yeah, I know that we should not blame the God. Like we never do blaming the God. It's all our fault. But it's like I don't know how to explain that, but there is a like showing your emotion, like crying and the blaming, two different things. So can you just explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, so sometimes, someone is going through some misery and one may not be blaming the deity, may not be even asking for a remedy or a, some kind of a solution from the deity either, but simply even crying about one's material misery is not, is an offense. So somebody may say, start narrating to the deity what all is going on in one's life, which are sufferings, with a sort of it's the consciousness that is important. With the consciousness that I am suffering, the focus is on oneself and see how much I am suffering. And you wouldn't, if there is suffering in the heart, there needs to be the faith that the deity knows about it. Krishna knows about it, and if he wants, he will take it away. Or if he thinks that that is for our benefit to go through it, then we should, take it as a, not atonement. Sorry, what's the right word? As a, what's the right word? As a, sour, bitter medicine, and accept it for our treatment, for our, like that. Yeah, we should tolerate.
But isn't it sometimes, I mean, I don't know, in some of the lectures you said like we should talk to deity, like whatever is going good we should share, whatever bad is also we should share. I mean, I don't know, it's sharing or offering, but whatever it is, isn't
Sharing is fine, but it is, yes, that is fine. So there's a fine line. Crying as in like a, in a and Srila Prabhupada's Nectar of Devotion, if you read, it says crying or howling. So it's that aspect, that there's a difference between sharing one's heart versus crying and howling in front of the deity. Why did this happen to me? It shouldn't have happened. There's no blame here, but sort of a very, loud and emotional situation.
yeah, I got it, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Some people will beat their chest and, make big, like a big drama, basically. Yes, Madhav Gauranga Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, in the next slide, the prasadam one, just Sarvasakti Mother just asked. So the option B, sometimes I take a dry tulsi leaves that offer to the deities and keep it with me. And before I eat the prasadam, I put that offered tulsi leaves into the lunch boga and make it prasadam.
But without offering the lunch that has been prepared to the Lord at all?
I mean, they so that offer. So we offer at home, right, at the lunchtime. And then when I'm there at the work, I just add the tulsi patra that offered. And then
yeah, I forgot to mention, yes, so that's a wonderful thing. I mean, I have not asked that specific question to my guru. Things I would like to say that one, what you mentioned seems totally, I mean, seems wonderful. And the second thing I want to mention is whenever we offer bhoga, any bhoga, we should always offer it along with tulsi leaf to the Lord. I have read somewhere that, I mean, a very strong statement that the Lord does not accept bhoga if there is no tulsi leaf along with it. Now, sometimes the statements are made strong. Now, I know that sometimes when I am offering or when my wife is offering or whatever, even mentally at some times, I'm not, or we don't have the tulsi leaf. So maybe, the Lord didn't accept it. Okay, so, those are corner cases, I would say. But as much as possible, one should offer bhoga to the Lord with tulsi leaf. And what you are saying later on also, take a dry tulsi leaf and put it on the offered bhoga, which is prasad, and honor it. Don't try to chew the tulsi leaf. The tulsi leaf, try to swallow it whole. Unless it's a huge manjari or something like that, where it could get stuck in your throat and cause other problems, then you can cut it and, or chew it little bit to make it swallowable. Yeah, Prabhuji, thank you for sharing that. That's nice. Anything else?
Prabhuji, I have a big doubt, though it's off the track, but I want answer from you. I request you to give me the answer. Whenever we go to the temples, not only to Krishna temple, the other temples, we see so many elders. So at the time, automatically we wish them. Every time, whenever I wish, I beg pardon from the God, you will excuse me because wishing the people in the temple. How should I come out of the problem?
I'm not sure I understand. Wishing is no problem. It is about physically bending down and offering obeisances. That's what's being said.
Oh. If we say namaste, is it okay?
Yes. Better to say Hare Krishna or some other,
No, some other temples. If Krishna temple means Hare Krishna, we say we...
You can say Jai Śrī Ram, or whatever, whichever temple you are in. Yeah, better to address the Lord rather than them, is what I'm saying. But the point about the offense was about actually paying physically the obeisances.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Because every time I wish, and then I ask excuse from the deity.
That's also very nice. And we will talk about that in just a second.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
What you are saying, that asking excuse from the deity, is one of the points I will cover after covering all these Seva Aparadhas.
Because generally in the Hindu temples, they say for none of the other people other than deity, we should wish inside the temple campus, they say. That is what every time it haunts my mind.
Okay, very nice.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Then there's one question on the chat. Had just offered an orange with tulsi leaves when you spoke. Okay, nice. Not a question, but a comment. Okay, so let's move forward. Then there are 29. Madhav Gauranga Prabhu, you have your hand raised. Do you have a question or from previous?
It's from previous, sorry.
I'll lower it. All right. Okay, 29 more from Varaha Purana. All these are there in the Nectar of Devotion book, coming straight from the purport by Srila Jiva Goswami. So quickly I will go over it. There may be some overlap here, but we will just go over it. So touching the deity in a dark room. Okay. So that's not okay. Obvious. These are common sense things. I mean, you may topple the deity, you may, your hands may pull a jewelry, or, you may touch the hair of the deity. And if somebody, pulls your hair, you won't like it, right? You don't know where you are in a dark room. So many things. You could fall, and you could fall on the deity, all those things, and make a big noise. Deity will wake up. Deity may be sleeping in the dark, whatever, one of the things you will see here, number 3, entering the temple of the deity without making some sound. So there's a bell, or you should knock on the door, just like, in any room in your office or wherever, if you enter, you first knock, right? And then you enter. It's when you do it in the office or anywhere, deity room, this is common sense things that you make the person inside aware that you're about to come in. Failing to follow the rules and regulations. So this is like an over-encompassing one, but especially when touching the deity is concerned, we should follow the rules. There are certain mantras one has to chant and all those things. Okay, number 4. Now this may be a little again controversial one. Offering any food stuff to the deity which has been seen by dogs or other lower animals. So some devotees, may have pets in the house, and, may not be able to avoid this. We will talk about the avoidance and all in the next few slides. But, that's why one can be careful. Maybe, you can have various types of precautions, like, maybe the dogs are not allowed in the kitchen or something, and or kitchen and temple room or something, wherever your temple is. In the house, of course, nobody is allowed to bring dogs into a temple, like a official, like a temple. But in your home also, try to avoid it. Number 5, breaking silence while worshipping. So while you are doing worshipping, a pujari, like on the altar, or when you are doing that worship, you must be quiet. You cannot chit chat, or you cannot, if you get a phone call, don't answer the phone call till you're done with the worship. Go for passing urine or evacuating while engaged in. So you are doing worship, hold it till your worship is over, then go. Or best is to, have a lifestyle where you go in the morning, and then you don't have to keep going like more times. So that requires a healthy body, a regulated lifestyle, so that you are done in the morning one time, and you don't have to go again. And especially like before worship, if you feel like going, you have to go. You should go first, take a shower, and then worship, so that you're not interrupted with your nature's call during the worship. Offering incense without offering some flowers. So flowers, freshness is the aspect. Incense means like a dhoop, or what incense stick, what do you call, agarbatti or some, always it should be accompanied with some freshness. Offering used, so again, same thing, next point, number 8, useless or dried flowers, or flowers without fragrance. Now I have seen in, at least in America, in the stores, you get these flowers. Many of them don't have fragrance. They just look colorful, but fragrance-wise, they are not. So it's, you have to do whatever best possible you should do. So then you should offer additional fragrance. That's why, during the worship, we offer 3-4 items, like incense. It provides the fragrance. You also offer some oil, fragrant oil. Many flavors, or whatever you call, is available. Lavender and rose, or kya hota hai? Huh? Khas. So many flavors. You can buy all these in the market. Failing to wash teeth carefully every day. Why is this one? Why specifically this one?
Because we utter the God's name through our mouth.
Yeah. How many of you have been next to somebody who's talking to you and, foul smell is coming from their mouth and you're like waiting when he will stop talking? I have experienced that so many times. Oh, this guy is having so much bad smell in the mouth, and so even the Lord experiences that. So why make him go through that experience? Then entering the temple directly after sexual intercourse. So again, one should do it. We have discussed this at other times. It's okay to have that for in a married life. It is allowed for having children or for various other. But one should take a bath, shower, and then conduct any, yeah. Okay, number 11. Now, again, this is all, that's why you will see at many places in the brackets, I have put worshipping, worshipping, worshipping. So all these should be consulted with the Guru. Some will say, don't even enter the temple. Some will say it's okay to enter the temple as a devotee, but don't actually worship the deity. Don't do any pujari seva, or don't cook for the deity, or any other items which will directly come in contact with the deity. Okay, so don't make a flower garland. So even those things, again, there are various levels. You may not go onto the altar, but even if you are making a garland or cooking, the garland will come in contact with the deity. The cooked item, the bhoga, will come in contact with the deity. The deity will pick it up and eat it, right? So, but you can definitely visit the temple as a devotee and be part of all the activities in the temple. So one should consult their guru as to what to do. So entering the temple after touching a woman during her menstrual period. So again, entering or worshipping the deity. So again, that applies to many of these items. Please consult your guru to get the specific instructions. Entering the temple or worshipping after touching a dead body. So in many cases, say it's okay to enter the temple like a devotee. Some people say, oh, I visited some friends, there was a death in the friend's house, so I visited the house. Now I will not enter the temple. That's one level. Another level is it's okay to enter the temple, but I will not conduct worship, go on the altar and start doing arti or cook. So those things, so one must consult the guru. Now, entering the temple or worshipping wearing garments of red or blue color. So red color denotes the rajasic. It's a rajasic, and blue or black is tamasic color. So, but again, this is for worshipping now, I have seen many devotees and, wearing red or blue. This kurta, like you can see, I'm wearing right now, I'm not in a temple, but yeah, I mean, we have temple in our house and I'm in the house. So one should not go on the altar. That's the standard I follow. So wherever all this worshipping is written, I personally follow the worshipping standard, not the entering the standard. Passing air before the deity. Now, while worshipping, I have now read that also, but earlier it is said don't pass it in the temple either, or in front of the deity. While worshipping, or I would say while even in front of the deity as a devotee. Being angry within the temple, we covered that one. Entering the temple after visiting a crematorium. So one should take a bath or a shower and then enter. Belching before the deity, it means one has overeaten. So overeating is anyway not recommended. So one should not do that. Smoking marijuana, ganja, opium, other intoxicants. All those are obvious. Yes, Manjari Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Tulsi.
Hare Krishna Tulsi. Yes, go ahead.
As I was overhearing what you were saying, and I've heard this one about the garments of red or blue, but my question is about specifically, sometimes devotees will wear these colors out of, I guess, appreciation for a particular appearance day or festival. Like I know I would personally wear blue when it's Nityanand Trayodashi or
Right.
Varaha Purana or red on Narasimha Purana. So if your attitude is more in line with something, I guess, of like Krishna, like I think something better than like Rajasic or Tamasic modes, and like, is that still okay to wear those garments?
So, okay, so two things I will say. One is that if you are not actually doing the worship of the deity, then it's okay anyway. That's point number one. And point number two, let's say if you have to do the worship and you're wearing, let's say, a blue sari on Nityanand Trayodashi, because, Lord Nityananda is always in the blue color and Lord Chaitanya is in golden color clothes or yellow. So then I would say consult your guru or spiritual master and take the guidance. None of the purports or the explanations I have heard said that exception is okay. But what you are saying, that if the consciousness is coming from the standpoint of pleasing the Lord, then it seems like a fair, thing, and your spiritual master may say, yes, you can go ahead and do that. So in case of doubt, ask your spiritual master or whoever he has delegated you to clarify any doubts from. But
Sounds
seems
good.
like a reasonable thought.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, we'll keep going. Touching the deity or paraphernalia after having smeared oil over one's body. Why do you think that's a problem? Yes, Madhav Gauranga Prabhu.
The ornaments, especially, what happened, they get darker, like they get black. If oil touches to them, some of them have that sensitivity. Also, you're contaminating deities because your oil, goes onto the deities and then it will have all the dust and everything will stick to them too.
Yeah, exactly right. So, as you know, oil is a natural magnet for dust and dirt. So if we, do that, if it's all over our body and we are touching everywhere, the things will get, oily and dirty, So like that. Okay, 32. Disrespecting scriptures, teaching about the supremacy of the Lord. This is actually one of the Nama Aparadhas also. Sadhu Shastra Ninda. So Shastra Ninda, disrespecting the scriptures or criticizing the scriptures. Ninda means criticizing, but here disrespecting. Or introducing any opposing scripture. All these are offenses. Now, chewing betel before the deity. So first of all, it was said you don't eat anything in front of the deity, but why specifically is betel mentioned here? Chewing betel nut, betel leaf, pan. In Hindi, we call pan. I don't know what it's called in other languages. It's a very common practice in India to chew betel. So why is this specifically mentioned? Any thoughts?
Especially Tamil Nadu.
Okay. Even in UP, I'm from Lucknow, which is a place of pan, and everywhere on the wall I could see, in all buildings, the red colored. People should just spit anywhere. Yes, Shyamlila Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, sometimes betel is offered to deities. Like I was reading in Chaitanya Charitamrita where Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu honored the betel that was offered to the deity and he fainted because it was an intoxicant. So maybe that is what it refers to, that even if it has been offered to the deity, we must not consume it.
Because it is an intoxicant? Kind
Yeah.
of a component. Okay, maybe you are right. Anybody else? I have a different reason that I have read about or heard about actually. Okay, so what I have heard, it is like
Prabhuji, generally pan is offered at the end of Naivedyam and everything. It is the end of
yes,
offering. So that we are offering to God, and we should not eat it in front of the deity.
but we should not eat any prasad in front of deity. Even halwa puri also we should not eat. So what is special about betel? That's the question. And obviously,
That
after
is
full offering is
that-
done, including the betel, then only we should honor the prasad after it has completely, the Lord has honored everything.
it's a kind of a digestion completes, something like the digestion helping, something like that, they say.
Okay. So what I have heard, I will just share. Thank you. All those points are good. What I have also heard is that it is like a chewing gum. You can keep doing it, something that you can keep in your mouth for a very long time. And generally, you can do all the activities while you have that in your mouth. You're following? Like a chewing gum. Many people, in meetings also in my office, they have a chewing gum and they are doing a whole meeting for 1 hour. And I have seen people with pan like that when I was young in India. Pan is like a constant thing in the mouth. So in general, the thing is that it's a thing to kind of keep in the mouth all the time or for very long periods of time. And it is acceptable in the culture to do other activities while that thing is in the mouth, just like chewing gum. Chewing gum is like a modern day pan or betel nut. And therefore it is specifically mentioned that it's not okay you can do that outside. You can, do your work, you can do whatever else you want with the pan in your mouth, but don't do that while in front of the deity. Now, I would say don't do that even while reading Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or anything else, even if you're not in front of the deity. And some gurus or some spiritual masters say it's not okay to eat pan at all due to it being having an intoxicant component and so on and so forth. So again, for those things, consult your spiritual master. Okay, 25. Offering a flower that was kept in an unclean pot. Why do you think that is the case? Offering a flower to the Lord. Any thoughts? So the reason is very straightforward, that if it's an unclean pot, unclean anything is a attraction or a magnet for bugs and insects and whatever, small ants, etc. And they will naturally crawl into the flowers. Many times I have seen that, in the deity garlands, little small bugs are crawling. You won't want that, if, somebody gave you to wear a garland after being offered from the deity and you see small bugs in the garland, you would be like, oh my God, when will I get it off? Kind of thing. So why we cannot offer that to the deity? So cleanliness is extremely, extremely important, because just first thing, it's good to be clean. And second, the reason behind it is that unclean things attract all kinds of bugs and insects. And you don't want to offer such a thing to the Lord. Okay, worshipping the Lord while sitting on a bare floor, one must have an asan, again for the same reason, that one should be protected from all the, bugs or insects that are on the floor, maybe. So when you are doing your worship, you are not disturbed because of that. So ideally, it should be a little bit raised asan. But even these days, people put a mat, just a small mat, because in general, the floor is anyway clean. But to comply with this instruction of having a asan, you can put a small mat. But if you are, olden days or whatever, it's a small raised, like a chauki, we say in Hindi. Okay. Touching the deity before one has taken a bath. And another one is also alternate interpretation is while giving bath to the deity using the left hand. So one should never give the water using left hand. You should always give it using right hand. Decorating one's forehead with 3-lined tilak. This is the Shaiva tilak. So this is Vaishnava Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti. So the 3 lines like flat or horizontal rather, it's for the Shaiva tilak. And there are so many other forms of tilak, but based on one sampradaya, we'll talk about it in the next limb here. But there, okay. Entering the temple without washing hands and feet. That's kind of obvious. Okay, Nitin Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, is it considered important to stand and do the worship, or you can be sitting or on your knees do the worship?
I have seen many senior devotees sitting and doing the worship. So sitting is not a problem. Now sitting on knees, I don't know, like a vajrasana or something you're saying. I don't know, but sitting cross-legged and doing worship is fine. I have seen very senior sannyasis do that. And standing is, of course, there.
Thank you.
Okay, you can I'll lower your hand. Okay. Okay, some more offenses. So lots of offenses. Offering food stuff which is cooked by a non-Vaishnava. Yes.
Prabhuji, a question.
Yeah.
Again, I couldn't follow the why beetle was not supposed to be.
Because generally the culture is to keep it in the mouth all the time. You are from Lucknow, you should know that. People keep it 24 hours in the mouth. So the point is that, at least for such people, to throw it out and clean the mouth before entering the temple.
Thank you.
If one does not have that habit, good for you. Don't try to develop the habit at all. But if one has that habit, then it is like, don't do that. I mean, one doesn't walk around with the, rice or roti or chapati in the mouth 24/7. So one is done with the lunch and one naturally goes and washes the mouth after lunch or dinner. So it's not mentioned that you shouldn't have rice in the mouth. But betel nut is an item which people keep in the mouth all the time. And same thing with tobacco also. Many people, chew tobacco, whatever. So that was mentioned also, all that marijuana and any other intoxicant or something. I don't know whether now Shyamlila Mataji, I think, mentioned about the intoxicant component of pan. But yeah, so in case of doubt, whether you should at all consume betel nut leaf or not, please consult your spiritual master. Yes, Sarvashakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So the last point, it's been mentioned that we should wash our hands and feet before entering the temple, but we don't have access to washing feet before going to the temple, right? When we take off our shoes. So someone told me that we can just sprinkle water on our head and a little bit on our feet. Is that okay? Or like, what should we do, Prabhuji?
Again, it has to be, so I will talk about some of the points like that it's based on the time, place, and circumstance. So as you can imagine in India or somewhere, like recently I went on Yatra, I gave detailed description of the Yatra also. So many places, it was the ground, even from the place where we have to take off the shoes, it was a long walk to reach the temple. And the feet got very dirty in that walk itself. So for those situations, but like, in our Portland temple, hardly there is, when you take off your shoes, there's nothing to make your feet dirty. So it's okay in that case. So one should take it in the context. Yeah. I hope that question or satisfied. It's a satisfactory answer.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, let's move on. Oh, there was something on the chat. Let me see. One question by Sai Prabhu. What if it is our tradition to wear the three-lined tilaka? Is it generally forbidden to break tradition? Okay, so I will say one thing. So on this one, tradition, we'll talk about tilaka in one of the next items, 21st item. But in brief, the answer is tradition for sake of tradition is not the tradition. It has a purpose behind it. Okay, so the three-lined tilaka is representing a devotee of Shiva, Lord Shiva. So if one is serious about, getting into, one has to, these are certain things that one has to apply or adopt based on the, based on the sampradaya that you have taken shelter in. So you must follow that if one is serious about it. And of course, one can do whatever they want, but the sampradaya, the Vaishnava sampradaya has, and all the various sampradayas have various types of tilak. Within the sampradaya, there are sub sampradayas and upa sampradayas, not upper sampradaya. Upa means a subsect or a subsection. They have various kinds of tilaks. Like for Gaudiya Vaishnavas, within Gaudiya Vaishnavas itself, there is many types of tilak. Like within, I wouldn't know what to say, but our ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, or we can say the Rupa Goswami Sampradaya, I think that would be accurate. We wear the tilak like how it is. I have seen other Sampradayas where it is slightly different. Even within Gaudiya Vaishnava, there is Nityananda Parivar, there is Gadadhar Parivar, there is so many other parivars. They have slightly different variations of the tilaks. So the three-lined horizontal tilak is Lord Shiva. So one's practice should match their connection or what they have the school or the sampradaya they have taken shelter of. So there's a follow-up saying it is prescribed for smartha brahmanas. I'm not an expert in this, but I think even they are following a particular sampradaya. So not all, that's all I can say with my limited knowledge. If you have any follow-ups, you can put it in the chat. Okay. Then there is I don't have tulsi. Can I offer tulsi drop for prasadam? When I don't have tulsi, can I offer tulsi drop? Means what? I have never heard of tulsi drop. What do you mean by that?
Prabhuji, Tulsi essence is sold, Prabhuji.
Is it?
Tulsi essence.
I would not recommend that, because then for that one has to crush the tulsi and take out the essence. That sounds not acceptable.
Okay.
You can have dried tulsi. So much dried tulsi is available.
Okay.
I mean, when you can carry a bottle of essence, I would imagine even the essence need to be carried out in some kind of a container. Why can't you have a container with dry tulsi? It's the same concept. If you can carry the essence in a container,
thank you.
dry tulsi also in a little container or a little Ziploc bag. So many devotees do that.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Okay, let's keep going. We'll try to finish these offenses and then we'll come to. I was hoping to cover a little more, but we'll finish this one. I think we covered this. Some more offenses. Offering foodstuff not cooked by a Vaishnava. Worshipping the deity before a non-devotee. I wanted to spend time discussing this as to why. But I'll just say that this is about the elaborate worship. Just kirtan in front of the deity is fine. And that's why in many of the ISKCON temples, we just do kirtan during the arati time, but the elaborate worship, the people may get all kinds of thoughts. Why are they doing this and that? And it's all rituals, and they may, create an offense for themselves by thinking those things. So elaborate worship before a non-devotee is not recommended because or they may get, they may not be inspired to do it and have offensive thoughts. Worshipping after seeing a kapali or one kapali or one who performs black magic once, or after being angry, or basically one should be in a very devotional mindset to do the worship. So all these things disturb one's consciousness. Worshipping the deity without first worshipping demigod Ganapati. So always when you are doing some elaborate worship, even of Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, Lord Ganapati is invited and worshipped in any havan or any worship. Now there are various standards. Now every day during Aarti or every day, when you are having less time, there are reduced standards that are given for householders or for various levels of daily worship, home worship versus temple worship. There are differences. Again, one should consult one's guru. Bathing deities in water that has been touched by the nails or fingers. So nails, specifically, devotees are not recommended to keep long nails. Many, it's a fashion these days, not these days or maybe in old days, I don't know, to have nails, long nails. It's a mark of fashion. So it's not recommended for devotees. Why? Very simple reason, you can guess, because then dirt accumulates under the nails. It's not easy to clean all the time. And that's not good, because when you're touching the various items of worship, then that goes
Moreover, it's considered as the sign of Daityas.
Sure, yes. And fingers also should be not touched in the water, because whatever dirt is on the finger easily mixes into the water. Now, of course, we have to use our hands for the worship, but don't try not to touch the water. I mean, even if you're offering a glass of water to drink to your friend, you would not dip your finger in the water. And, if you see somebody, waiter in the hotel, bringing a glass of water to you with his finger dipped in the water, would you ever drink it? Even if he has no nails, huh? It's kind of gross, right? So it's just, like I said, common sense. 90% of these are common sense. Worshipping while perspiring, now in some cases it might be, if you're worshipping in Vrindavan in peak summer, maybe it's not avoidable at all, but try to avoid. That's why, they try to take a shower and immediately do worship. So hope is that you won't perspire like immediately afterwards. But it's just like, or at least after playing a, football match, don't come and start doing the worship. And when you're full of sweat, take a shower and then do it. Crossing or stepping over the flowers offered to the deities, taking a vow in the name of God, Bhagwan ki kasam, or something like that. Say, in India, swearing in the name of God, Bhagwan ki kasam, kind of, don't do that. Or Krishna promise, children do Krishna promise. So all that is not allowed. Spitting during worship, okay, that's kind of obvious. Worshipping deities with old or begged flowers. Flowers at least don't need to be begged. Fresh flowers are available for free. Maybe, you may not have to be the best roses or whatever, according to one's means. There was a previous one which said according to one's means. And worshipping in an inauspicious time. Okay, so let's try to wrap up. So too many Seva Aparadhas to follow, right? So that is there was just too many, 32 plus 29. I don't know, you can do the addition plus all these other ones. So maybe at least 30 plus 60, 70, 75 aparadhas. How much can you remember? So first of all, many of these are common sense items. Okay. And while you were going through, I'm sure many of you noted the ones that you are doing. A lot of you asked questions. So you know which ones to now take care of. And 90% you are probably already not doing. Like, facing the back towards the deity, or, those kind of things, or bowing to the deity when the curtain opens. Everybody does that. So that is the point. Now comes an important point. What to do about things that you cannot avoid? Maybe like passing air in the deity room. Maybe an old person cannot just get up and just walk out, or something like that, or things like of that nature. So here is what was mentioned by Sri Rupa Goswami from Padma Purana. These are two very important verses. A person is freed from all offenses by taking complete shelter of Hari. So all the offenses, including the Seva Aparadha, can be by taking complete shelter, not in namesake, not lip service, but taking complete shelter of Hari, one can be relieved, freed from these offenses. But the two-legged animal who commits offense against Hari, so this is committing the Seva Aparadhas to Hari, is freed by taking shelter of Hari's name. Okay, so first of all, don't commit offense to anybody else. If you happened to by mistake commit that, one is relieved by taking shelter of Hari. If offense is committed to Hari, and that is Seva Aparadha, to Hari, one is freed by taking shelter of Hari's name. Now again, this is accidental or due to some disease, let us say, like we discussed, if you have a wheelchair, if you are in a wheelchair, it's not that you shouldn't visit the temple and see the deity. You can enter in a wheelchair, then take shelter of Hari's name. And somewhere or the other, some offense will be there which will not be avoided. I guarantee you. You will be making some offense. One of the offense one may be making, knowingly or unknowingly. Therefore, everybody must take shelter of Hari's name, regardless of you may think I am not committing a Seva Aparadha. I guarantee you, you are, knowingly or unknowingly. Like it is said, not offering dried flowers. Maybe one of the flower petals is dry. You have not checked every flower. Okay. So like that. So must take, and the thing is, by committing offense against the name of Hari, Nam Aparadha, which is the well-wisher of all, the holy name. The name is more powerful than the Lord. Why? You have the answer here. By taking shelter of the Lord, all the other offenses are freed. You are freed from them. But by taking the shelter of the name, you are even freed from offenses against the Lord himself. So these are very important two verses. And it shows the importance of taking shelter of the holy name. So holy name is extremely powerful. And one who commits offense against the name, and what are those offenses called? Nam Aparadha. One falls down and there is no other remedy. There is no other remedy. So learning is avoid as many of the Seva Aparadha as possible, sincerely and genuinely. Okay, now if somebody has a disease or whatever other things, take shelter of the holy name. And most of the Seva Aparadhas are just common sense. But at all costs, very, very strictly and carefully avoid all the Nam Aparadhas. This is the main learning from this discussion. So the 10 Nam Aparadhas, so all of you are familiar with this. We won't spend time to go over this. You can go over it. It's mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. Plus, like I mentioned, Hari Parshad Prabhu has done a very detailed series recently as part of his Upadeshamrit talks. I also did a series on this before I heard Hari Parshad Prabhu's version. So about 2 years ago I did. So that's on the YouTube, Hari Parshad Prabhu's series, which I highly recommend. Forget what I did. Whatever Hari Parshad Prabhu is saying overrides what I have done. So please take advantage of these resources and try to understand the essence of the Nam Aparadhas. And these are mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. So these are coming straight from Srila Prabhupada himself. Now there are some minor, in the English translations, some things you may find like Srila Prabhupada has interpreted one way, or some other devotee may write an English translation which is slightly different. So that is perfectly fine. Various acharyas give various understandings. They may be 95% aligned. There may be some differences. So the point is, follow any one of them. Even if you find a small contradiction one way or the other, pick one and follow it sincerely. That is most important. Many people, what they do is that they spend all their time in analyzing, because we are all this analyzing mindset. We never actually do anything. Even though there may be slight differences, 95% or 99 or whatever is the same. We never follow even 2% of the 99% which was the same. All the energy is spent in finding, that's called it's basically fault finding mentality, doing analysis. So we become good analysts and the worst possible practitioners. Okay, so that is pointless. It's meaningless. Okay. So it's 6:45. So we can stop here. I was hoping to cover several other limbs of bhakti. So now this 19th limb, which was seva, nam, aparadha, varjanam, avoiding the seva aparadhas and nam aparadhas. We have completed that today. And then we completed the 20th nam aparadha, the 20th limb earlier itself. We had left the 19th one. And this 20th one is about not tolerating the criticism of Krishna or his devotees. So one should never tolerate the criticism of Krishna or his devotee. We covered that last time. And don't try to rectify it or preach to people unless you are in an official position of authority to do so. Otherwise, leave the situation. Why? Because otherwise it spoils your consciousness. It will increase your bahirmukta, or it has a possibility of doing so. Why play with fire? You could get burnt. So then we'll have others. We will cover it next time. Any questions? All right. There's something in the chat. If co-devotee commits any offense, can we gently point out, please? I would say depends, highly depends on your chemistry and relationship with that devotee. I would not do so myself. In my situation, I would not do so. And especially if he is a devotee and one thing that you can do is that if you find a book which has a special, points out that particular point, you can give the book, hey, and you say, let's say chapter 5 covers that point. You can say, hey, you know, I was reading chapter 5 of this book and I really liked it. You know, maybe you can, I just wanted to share it with you. Read chapter 5 of so-and-so book. Something like that you can do in a very, very, you know, I wouldn't do it in an obvious way. Unless I am very close, or, you know, the relationship is very close. Okay.
Prabhuji,
Yes.
actually we face a lot during the deity darshan in temples, especially in India. Because of the huge rush and breaking of the lines, it usually happens. I couldn't ignore when someone is breaking the line, and I usually call them that please.
Don't break.
Why are you late? Why are you breaking the line?
I wouldn't
So,
do it. It spoils not only, its main thing is it spoils our consciousness. First of all, already it is spoiling the consciousness internally. Why is this guy doing so? Then when you point it out and it becomes a big, you know, drama, let's say, you know, maybe that guy apologizes and everything is resolved in like 1 minute. Maybe if it becomes a big drama, your whole consciousness is spoiled. So don't be in a rush is what I would say. Take sufficient time. People will be people. and you know they will cut the line, you budget extra time for that and keep the time, and most importantly, maintain your consciousness. Preserve your consciousness. It's the most important asset you have. That's like your baby. It's like your child. Okay, you don't want to just out of your ahankar or make a point or win. I will show him, I will point out what a jerk he is. You will be spoiling your consciousness. That's most important for you. Don't let anything come in its way. Take extra time, and it is therefore very important to develop practices like japa or hearing. I feel so happy whenever somebody says, you have to drive. I'm happy. Yes, I can drive 1 hour. I usually tell people, oh, no problem driving 1 hour, because I love to hear various lectures, and I have a whole backlog. I have like thousands of hours of lectures I want to hear. Thousands of hours. And I, I put them on, and I can spend as much time, give me more free time, I will put it to use. So I always have my ear. These days technology is good. Earlier, I'll show you my previous headphones. Where did they go? Oh, right here. They were that big. Now they are that big. I can carry them everywhere in my pocket. So, there's if you have to stand half an hour extra in the line, no problem. Now, of course, in Vrindavan, you may not do that because monkeys will snatch away your headphone. But all other places, you can do that. In Vrindavan, you can do japa. Sometimes I've heard they have snatched the japa bead bag also. Anything else? Okay. Thank you so much for your association. Thank you so much for your kind participation and your questions, and helps me a lot as well. And I hope it was helpful for you. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you,
Prabhu.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You solved